Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Jan Ki Baat. I am extremely delighted to have with me the National Vice President of the Bharatiya Janata Party and the party in charge for Assam and Delhi, Mr. Jay Panda. Mr. Jay Panda, it's always pleasure to speak to you and interact with you. And you might be you would be a delighted man because with you as Prabhari in Assam, the Bharatiya Janata Party, despite all the doomsday prediction by a lot of individuals, won Assam convincingly. And today also in the bypoll result, it has swept. And you in your tweet, I want to read your tweet. Your tweet says clean sweep of bypolls in 5 MLA seats, BJP for Assam is leading in all of them. In fact, now it has won it. It reiterates the faith in Prime Minister Narendra Modi, BJP President JP Nadda, and Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma, and Bhavesh Kalita, your party president. Mr. Panda, my question to you is: I'm not surprised at the result, but what is not surprising, but what is the point of discussion here is the massive margins with which you have won. What for you is the biggest takeaway? Is it the margins, or were you expecting these massive margins?
Well, let me first say this, that some people were predicting that we would have a tough fight, that maybe we would win only 2 or 3 out of 5. But we were always convinced that, first of all, this is a reiteration of Assam's faith in the national leadership of Narendra Modi, because he is the prime minister that has visited the Northeast more number of times than any other prime minister. He is the prime minister that has brought many things to the Northeast and Assam for the first time. You know, in some states, there were no railways until Narendra Modi ji became the prime minister. And so you're seeing that massive rollout of infrastructure in roads, in railways, in drinking water projects. And the people of Assam, the people of the Northeast, had got used to being cheated for decades by earlier ruling parties. So this is the reiteration of the mandate for Modi ji's leadership. And then, of course, we've had tremendous leadership at the state level. We've had very dynamic Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma, who just in the last 4.5 months has carried out a massive crackdown on the illegal drugs trade. You know, if something like that had been done in Punjab a few years ago, it wouldn't be in the mess that it is in today. And we wouldn't be seeing all these many cases in important places like Bollywood and other such places. Now, apart from that, of course, it's a team effort from the national level. Home Minister Amit Shah ji has brought about fantastic changes with the settlement of Bodo issues, settlement of many other disputes. Party President JP Nadda ji has visited many times. The Northeast is clearly in his focus. And State President Bhavesh Kalita is very energetically working all around the state. And what you mentioned, I'll come to that finally, is the massive margins. To be honest, I wasn't sure by what margin we would win. I thought we would win comfortably, but not a single seat have we had a margin of less than 25,000 votes. This is historic. This is not just for us. This has never happened. This has never happened.
That is why I'm coming.
So this is Kamakhya Devi's blessings for what our party and leadership is doing for Assam.
Well, you've just come from your official duty in Jammu and Kashmir and other states. You've been traveling, Mr. Panda. I hope the Mahavikas Aghadi government in Maharashtra understands the importance of crackdown on drugs. Well, Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma and your party does definitely understand. Let me go seat by seat because I would like to have that analysis with you, because you are a Prabhari and you were stationed in Assam for more than 4 to 5 months. Hardly any Prabhari does that. So your effort was there. Your commendable effort was also there. Let me go to the first state, Tamulpur, which I want to talk about. 56,000 votes is the margin, and it is the UPPL, which is winning this. Yes, you're a ally. And people had Mr. Panda, people had said that, allying with the UPPL and leaving your earlier partner would be a huge mistake. But UPPL winning with 56,000 is something which is very stark and something which is very big.
First of all, let me point out, we have never left any partner. The BJP has a track record of never having abandoned any ally, even if it has cost us in some places like Punjab. But when in the assembly election, you saw an unholy alliance between Congress and the communal party based on illegal immigrants, which is UDF, then our earlier ally, which was the Bodo party, BPF, abandoned us and joined hands with them. And people thought this would be devastating for us. But that was not the case. The UPPL is a new party representing young Bodo leadership, students who stood up for development, who stood up against corruption. And although they had no political track record, in a very short time in the assembly elections just 5 months ago, they did extremely well in partnership with us in BJP. Tamulpur was always considered a very difficult seat, but Pramod Boro, the leader of the UPPL, and others worked hard, and the BJP stood arm in arm with them and worked on the ground with them. And it was very clear that, towards the end, it was very clear that we would win it. But these massive margins are a great bonus, a great gift from Ma Kamakhya.
Mr. Panda, for me as a psephologist, this becomes further interesting because Assam and Northeast has not been a traditional bastion of the Bharatiya Janata Party. That's why these lead margins, your victory in Assam for the second consecutive time, and these lead margins in Baipur resurrect the strong work that you have done. Let me come to another seat, which is Mariani, and there again you won with 40,104 votes. Does this also reflect that people have given a mandate to the way the Himanta Biswa Sarma has worked in the past 4.5 months, which you also have mentioned about? Is it a Himanta wave in Assam?
The CM Himanta Biswa Sarma ji is extremely popular. He's very dynamic. He seems to work 25 hours in every 24-hour day. And he has made a massive difference to the energy levels and the pursuit of governance. I was giving you the example about the crackdown on drugs, and there are many other examples. So he's, of course, a great asset for our party. But as I said, it's not any one angle. You were giving me some credit for having stayed there for 5 months, but I'm part of a team, and very clearly, the head of the team is what has that immense support. Narendra Modi ji has enormous support in Assam and in the Northeast. This is a historic thing because only a few years ago, it used to be said that we could never form a government in the Northeast, but that's changing. We are, even in places like Bengal and Odisha, the BJP has become now the number 2 party. Even in South, which was considered difficult, the BJP is the truly the only all India party today across the length and breadth of the entire nation. So anybody that has these ideas of BJP being a certain kind of party being limited to certain regions, he's at least few decades out of sync.
No, I completely agree with agree with you. But let me give a worrying factor to this also, Mr. Panda. Mr. Panda, is it that now because you are peaking at lot places like Assam, you are the strongest party. This is your second term. At other states also, in other states also, you already been in government for 15 years, 10 years. Does it also worry you that because you've been in power in states for more than 10 years, 15 years, there is always a peak of any political party after which people generally tend to choose another alternative? Does it worry you?
That peak is not visible, at least for the foreseeable future in my lifetime. Let me tell you something. That concept, that party's peak, is based on the concept of anti-incumbency. And that was an Indian phenomenon. You didn't have anti-incumbency of that order in other democracies throughout the 1960s, 70s, 80s, 90s, etc. Why did you have it in India? Because you had governing parties that didn't respect the people, that cheated the people, that never implemented their promises, that were based on enriching only one family or one individual, not the nation, and did not have meritocracy in their systems. So if you look at the BJP track record, look at Gujarat. It's been a quarter of a century and we keep winning. Look at many other places. The BJP keeps winning. Why? Because we deliver on our promises. Because we don't have the same family running the party for the last 50 years, or compare with other parties. How many different presidents have they had in the last 25 years? And how many have we had? So that concept that we are peaking is a faulty concept. Only if you are cheating the people, at some point they will have enough of you and you will peak. But the BJP is delivering. If you go on the ground, and I know you have spent a lot of time on the ground in Assam, I'm sure you can tell your viewers about the degree of confidence that the people have in Narendra Modi, in Amit Shah, in Himanta Biswa Sarma, and the entire BJP team from JP Nadda, the president, all the way down to every last worker in Assam.
My last question to you, Mr. Panda. Assam has been a massive, I think it's a study for individuals analyzing politics too. And sometimes you should also write more about it because it's been an electoral feat for you, particularly for Himanta Biswa Sarma, for your party, for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. But if I look at the entire bipolar results in context, there might say Rajasthan or Himachal. There are points where you also need to work towards. Is your party conscious about that?
Our party is nothing if not transparent. I can tell you that the BJP is not only the world's largest political party, we haven't got to having 18 crore members by accident. It has happened through the effort of many thousands and lakhs of people, from leaders to grassroots workers, over many decades. And the internal democracy we have means that we are able to listen to feedback from the people and discuss it frankly, and to introspect and to make changes. You have heard in one or two places where we have not done as well as we expected, our leadership there has says that we will introspect. Now, if you compare that with any of the others whom we have to compete against, they may say such things. There are people who are ever youthful leaders over many decades in other parties. After every debacle, they keep saying that they will introspect, but they keep doubling down on the same strategy, which is anti-people, and they keep getting that same slap on the face from the public every time. We are not like that. We listen to the people. We ensure that our commitments are people-centric and that we live up to our commitments and deliver them.
Well, Mr. Jay Panda, it's a pleasure to speak to you. I would love to speak to you more, and in fact, would love to have more interviews with you. And because the best part about interviewing you is that you love to take all the questions, whether it's a bouncer or a full toss. A pleasure to speak to you,
Thank you.
Mr. Panda. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you, Pradeep Bhandari ji. It's a pleasure.